British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
From the Broadcast Center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Good afternoon, I'm Caitlin O. You're listening to BCIT News The Crow, and here are your 3:30 p.m. news headlines. The BC Ministry of Housing announced today a new program to fast-track the building of more lower-cost middle-income rental homes. The BC Builds program is expected to lower construction costs, speed up timelines, and deliver more homes for middle-income people who live and work in the region. The new initiative works in partnership with nonprofits, local governments, First Nations, and the development sector to find available underused land to build affordable homes. The $2.95 billion housing program aims for a concept to construction timeline of 12 to 18 months compared to the current 3 to 5 year average to complete rental projects. Premier David Eby said in the announcement that the private sector alone has not been able to deliver the homes to middle-class people in BC that they need.
We are attacking the housing issue head on, and today's announcement is another tool that we are bringing to bear on the housing crisis that faces too many families. We know that the private sector alone has not been able to deliver the middle-income housing that we need.
Police in Surrey say they're investigating 2 crashes that sent pedestrians to hospital with serious injuries. The collisions happened 90 minutes apart last night. A man in his 40s was taken to hospital after being hit by a semi-truck. The truck driver is cooperating with the police. Then at around 10:30 p.m., a woman was sent to hospital after she was hit by an SUV. The woman was hospitalized with severe injuries to her lower body. The SUV stopped momentarily before fleeing the scene. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. What started as a class assignment for 2 ecology students has turned into a lifelong project. The 2 have started building and maintaining wood duck boxes around Fort Langley. Our reporter Abby Francis has more on the project.
Lauren McKenna and Jaylene Braithwaite are creating and maintaining wood duck boxes. These boxes are used by wood ducks as nests. Lauren says their project is looking at different types of boxes and how birds use them.
We've made some alterations ourselves, and we've done some hatches on the inside of the door to help the fledglings crawl out when they're ready to leave.
She says they've also created a design with a flat roof because they noticed wood ducks like to perch on their nests, and made the bottom of the boxes openable for easier access when doing maintenance. They currently have 3 boxes around Western Trinity University, 3 around Houston Trail, and 2 around Fort Langley, with plans to add additional boxes in all of those areas. Abby Francis, The Crow.
Advocates from Black and Indigenous communities will be holding an important conversation tonight in New Westminster. Our reporter Anthony Antanasov has more on a dialogue that will discuss housing precarity faced by Black and Indigenous people.
A discussion centered on the historical disposition and displacement of Indigenous and Black peoples is happening tonight at the Massey Theatre. The Towards Housing Justice for Black and Indigenous Communities will feature a night of dialogue and education, such as the barriers that still exist for Black and Indigenous peoples disproportionately affected in the housing crisis. A report from BC Gov lists discriminatory landlords as one of these barriers. Housing Service Outreach worker Suzanne Sandy says the selection process of tenants is still subject to prejudice.
Tenants that they're looking for, and it does really exclude a big portion of our people and other people of color.
A housing project brought forth by the Swahili Vision International and Aboriginal Land Trust will also be unveiled. The event starts tonight at 5:30. Anthony Atanasov with BCIT The Crow.
Anthony joins us now in studio. So Anthony, you mentioned tonight was a conversation. What can you tell us about the advocates who will be speaking?
Well, it's interesting because this is ultimately a lot of different collaborators, and it's a conversation about education and awareness as much as it is about celebrating collaboration between, 2 groups of people that ultimately have a similar experience, albeit different, history. But, you have Black and Indigenous groups coming together, coming together with solutions for, tackling barriers towards a housing crisis. And, they're going to be unveiling a housing project. I was speaking to the organizer, and there's a housing project which involves, 96 unit housing for Black and Indigenous peoples in Westminster. And it's ultimately the vision of the Swahili Vision International and Aboriginal Land Trust. And, they're excited to unveil that. And it's sort of a step forward in this dialogue.
And what are you hearing from outreach workers in terms of landlords?
Well, it is an ongoing crisis, and, these groups are disproportionately affected by this. There's, out of Stats Can, we have an 11% increase in, these racialized groups living in severe need. And as well, you've got discrimination still existing in terms of tenancy selection with landlords, sort of the dialogue between landlords and tenants, evictions. And so, you have a lot of these problems that still exist.
Okay, thank you, Anthony.
Thanks, Caitlin.
An exhibit using augmented reality games to teach youth about civilization's future problems is making its first appearance at Science World. BCIT's own reporter Liam Higgs has the latest on just how this augmented reality education works.
The Dream Tomorrow Today exhibit uses augmented reality to help kids improve their problem-solving and creative thinking skills. The exhibit takes a gamified approach to make sure kids stay engaged as they build virtual reality cities and help protect them from flash floods. They also make their very own innovations to the food and car industries. Nicole Vieira, Science World's exhibit curator, explains why this kind of education is important for kids.
Half of the jobs that kids are going to have in the future don't exist yet. And all these different things that they're going to be faced with solving don't exist yet. So to give them this opportunity to just practice building that tool set of skills that are going to help them is so, so important.
The exhibit has been open for nearly 2 weeks and will only be available until early May. Liam Higgs for BCIT's The Crow.
At the Anvil Office Tower in New Westminster, Victoria Mitchell and Paul Newton are holding an art exhibit focused on the theme of collaboration. Our reporter Joseph Augusti has the story.
Newton is a photographer known for his composition and ambiance, while Mitchell is a painter and illustrator who specializes in blending reality and imagination. According to Mitchell and Newton, collaboration in the art field is mysterious territory. By combining their respective expertise in photography and painting, they aim to demystify art through blending genres. Mitchell spoke to the impact of her collaboration with Paul as well, and why she'd recommend collaboration between different styles of art.
I would recommend that to anyone in the arts to work closely with another and share what you're doing with what they're doing, and integrative work is really a wonderful thing to do, and in the learning experience and growth creatively for both.
Newton and Mitchell's exhibit is on display at the Anvil Office Tower until March 27th. Joseph Augusti for BCIT's The Crow.
Thousands of drivers for ride-sharing and food delivery platforms Uber, Lyft, and DoorDash will strike on Valentine's Day. The one-day strike is part of a fight for more pay. Drivers in Vancouver, Toronto, Winnipeg, and cities across the U.S. and Europe are expected to participate in the strike. Striking drivers in Toronto are planning to gather at Nathan Phillips Square tomorrow morning before driving around downtown. And those were your news headlines. Sports is coming up after the break.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikka-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you.
This is sports on 1680 The Crow.
Welcome back to BCIT's The Crow. Here's your sports news. Burnaby's Junior A hockey team, the Grandview Steelers, have earned their spot in the 2024 Pacific Junior Hockey League playoffs for a second consecutive season. The Grandview Steelers ended off its 2023 to 2024 regular season with a 4-3 overtime victory last Sunday against Port Moody Panthers. The team is set to face the White Rock Whalers in the opening round tomorrow night at 7:15. The winner of the Best 3 Survivor Series will play the PJHL League champion, the Richmond Sockeyes, in the quarterfinals. The Vancouver Canucks are on the road, set to face off against the Chicago Blackhawks tonight at 5:30 in Chicago. This Western Conference clash will be the third meeting of the season between the two teams. The Canucks are entering the game with an NHL best 76 points and have just one loss over their last 15 games. The Blackhawks rookie Connor Bedard won't be playing in tonight's game. Head coach Luke Richardson said Bedard could return to game action next week after recovering from a fractured jaw. BC Lions defensive lineman Matthew Betts is leaving the team for the Detroit Lions. The 28-year-old was named the CFL's most outstanding defensive player last season. He signed a free agent contract with the NFL team. Betts has 4 years of CFL experience, playing 2 seasons in Edmonton before moving to BC in 2022. This is the second year in a row that the Lions have had a star player move to the NFL. Decorated curling skip Jennifer Jones announced today that she's retiring from the women's team curling at the end of the season. Jones is the winner of 6 Canadian Women's Curling Championships and 2 World Championships. She also won an Olympic medal in 2014. The 49-year-old from Winnipeg says she still loves curling, but wants to spend more time with her 2 daughters.
I'm also really excited about what the potential next steps will be and have that next chapter in my life, which is starting later than I ever thought it would, but I wasn't ready for it to start. And now I'm ready.
Canada's Ingrid Wilm earned a bronze medal for a 100-meter backstroke at the World Aquatic Championships today in Doha, Qatar. Wilm went against Iona Anderson for silver at the Aspire Dome, but the Australian touched the wall first in 59.12 seconds. The bronze medal is Wilm's first individual long course World Championship medal. She contributed to bronze by swimming the preliminary heats in Hungary in 2022 and in Japan last year. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and the Kansas City Chiefs will celebrate their Super Bowl 58 win with the victory parade in their home city tomorrow. The parade will start at 9 a.m. tomorrow and is expected to be about 90 minutes long. The parade route starts at 6th Street and Grand Boulevard and will head south towards Union Station. And now for the weather at BCIT Burnaby Campus. It is currently 9 degrees and sunny. The sun will set at around 5:28 this evening, with temperatures dropping to a low of 2 degrees tonight. For Valentine's Day tomorrow, it will be sunny with a high of 9 degrees and a low of 0 overnight. That was your 3:30 newscast. I'm Caitlin O, and you're listening to BCIT News, The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. but it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Siggi-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.